12 weeks ago, I started something I've never done before. In just 1 year, I want to go from zero track and field experience to being one of the best 800-meter runners in my country. And at the same time, I'm chasing the dream I've had since I was a kid, becoming a professional footballer again. These two worlds, they don't normally exist together. Footballers train for explosive moments, sprints, skill. Runners train for sustained effort, perfect pacing, precision under fatigue. I'm trying to do both at the same time. That means 16 hours of training every single week. But training 16 hours is not what you think. If you want to get to that level, you have to be mindful about how you train, how you recover, and how you structure your life around it, because it's certainly not for everyone. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I train during a week, the football sessions, the endurance work, the gym, the cognitive training, and how I'm trying to build a body and a mind that can handle all of it. And along the way, I'll share the truth about what it really takes to sustain this and how you can figure out the perfect training load for yourself. This is Project Reborn, but this is also now the Superhuman Initiative. And this is exactly how I train 16 hours a week as a hybrid footballer. Okay, so we're here for the first session of the week. So today we'll work on my speed and my speed endurance over longer distances. And this is in line with my goal of competing at the 800-meter nationals in 2026.
You gotta give it away, give it away, give it away to the ones you love.
So this week actually starts with a question: how fast can I, as a footballer, run 200 meters?
Feels like sunshine the way that it warms up my cold heart. Sweet as sugar and a light that leads you through the dark. A friend to pick you up in brokenness and pain. Lord, let your love and kindness fall on us like rain.
Okay, so that's the warm-up, and as you could see, we started with 4 laps around, where we continuously, for the 4 laps, we race the intensity. So I go for a slow pace in the start and then I race that up. So I go at quite a quick pace in the final lap. Then we did some dynamic movements to, loosen up our joints, our tendons and our muscles. Then some band work, which is more football specific, to warm up the hips, the glutes and everything. And then we went for some drills, so the A skips and the B skips. And we finished off with some strides, 2 strides for 50, 60 meters in these shoes. And that's where I wanted to get to now, because we have quite a few options to choose from. This is the 𝗤𝗥𝗢𝗄𝗡 18, which is the daily trainer that I use for 90% of my workouts. Then we have these, which are the Streakfly 2s, which I just got. This is the first time that I'm gonna use them. These and these are kind of similar. The only difference is that these have spikes, which is specific to the track, but these take a huge toll on your calves and your Achilles. So you have to be a bit mindful when using these and to not use them too much. So what I will do, I will start off in these, I will switch to these, and then I go for a few more strides, and then we'll head into the most exciting part of the day, which is the 200-meter time trial. And we'll see how fast I am over 200 meters. Okay, so that was the 2 time trials at full speed on 200 meters. First time I've ever done it. Alex timed me and flying the drone at the same time, so kudos to him for multitasking. But the first one, 24.95, and the second one, 25.90. And it's kind of a heavy wind out here today, so that's why I decided I wanted to go in both directions so we get an average. So right now, probably in the low 25s is where my 200 meter time is at, and that is something that I'm happy with right now, as I haven't done much track training at all. But now we're not done with the session yet.
After my 200 meter time trials, it was time for some intervals, and I went for 2 intervals of 300 meters where I actually PR'd. I set a new personal record in the 300 meters with 42 seconds. But now I'm interested to know, how fast are you as a footballer? Go for your own time trial and let me know your results down in the comments.
Okay, so finally done here at the track, and I'm absolutely dead. We've been here for 1 hour and 40 minutes, but it was definitely a good session to start off the week. I set several new PRs in both the 200 meter and the 300 meter, which are great, but now I have to cool down, stretch out especially the calves and the Achilles, because we still have a lot of sessions coming through in the week, maybe 10, 11 sessions in total. Will not be as intense as this one, all of them, but we have football coming up, we have gym sessions coming up, and a lot of good things. So stay tuned for that, but now I'm gonna stretch, cool down, and then I'll see you in the next session. So it's 7 a.m. and I just got home from our little day trip to Gothenburg and that first track session that we did. But that is not the end of today. I actually have one more session to put in before we call it a day. And there's obviously, because I do so many sessions in a week, there's a lot of double days as well. But this session will not be as strenuous, not nearly as strenuous, but it's still very, very important, if not as important as that track session that we did prior. Let's head outside and let's go for session 2 of the week and session 2 of this Monday.
The second session of the day was a 45-minute zone 2 run. And these runs are one of the main reasons I'm able to train 16 hours a week without burning out. And they're also a key piece in my plan if I'm going to reach my goal within the next 365 days. I'll explain why zone 2 is so important later on in the video, but first, I need to tell you something else. See, these slower runs, they give me a lot of time to think, and lately, I've been thinking a lot. 2025 has been a year where I've been battling some kind of identity crisis. And if you've been following me recently, you've seen hints of it, but what you probably don't know is that I'm still in it. It's not just an internal battle, it's about how other people see me, including you, watching this right now. This channel has always been about helping footballers chase their dreams, and that is still the core mission.
Hi, my name is Oskar, I am 22 and I live in 𝗥𝗙𝗢𝗃 in Sweden. Welcome to my channel, I guess. This is my very first video.
Thanks so much for watching.
Until next time, take care and I'll see you in the next one. So if you just come with me.
That's why I post these videos, to help you make your football dream a reality. But I've been afraid that if I follow what I truly want, you might not come with me. Maybe you think this new direction is too far away from your own journey. Maybe you're only here for football. And yet, I have this burning desire to grow beyond just one identity, to evolve and to become something more. And that's ultimately what Project Reborn is about. But this creates questions in my head. Do I make these videos only for you, or for me as well? Will you keep watching if I talk about running? Should I avoid it, even though it's such a huge part of my life right now? And I don't have an answer yet. So for now, I guess I'll just keep on running and think some more.
Okay, so day 2, we're out here on the pitch for the first time in 6 weeks. I haven't touched a football in 6 weeks, and there is a good reason for it, because now that I've slightly changed, or slightly, I've completely revamped my entire training program. I started to implement running, and a lot of running in volume, and those first 5 weeks I didn't want to, overload myself and do too much. So that's why I left football out of the training plan for the first 5 weeks. And now in week 6, it's time to reintroduce football with 2 sessions this first week, and then we want to aggressively get back to 3 sessions every week of pitch-based sessions. And I'm really excited again to touch the ball. We'll see if I've lost all of my skills. It's gonna be exciting. But yeah. Let's jump into the session. Okay, so warm up done, nothing crazy, just the usual. And now heading into exercise 1, I really want to, work on these elements that I have been missing out on for the last few weeks. So we're gonna start off very simple. I'm gonna start here, play the ball against the wall, get it back, take the touch, turn, get up here, go around this cone, and then we go into a cone weave made out of 4 cones. We go to this cone, and then we start going back here, play the ball here, take it with the left, turn, and go back. And then we go for a few reps of these and get into a good flow. Okay, so heading into exercise 2, this is one of my favorite exercises as a winger, but whatever position you play, you can do this one, but it's primarily for offensive players. So we'll start in this 5x5 meter square where we'll juggle the ball, kick it up, bring it down under control. You can take it down like that and then take your touch, but ideally we want to take our first touch forward. Then we start to dribble, and I'm not gonna go too intense here because these change of direction elements of the exercise are very taxing for the lower body, and I don't want to overdo it this first week that we reintroduce football. But anyway, we go through here. I go around this first cone with control. I go here. Then as we get here, we come to another cone weave. Keep the ball close under control. Then we come to this cone. We pick up the speed slightly. We take the defender on 1v1. We go to the right or to the left. If you go to the right, we can put a cross in, or if you go inside, we can take the shot, but I'm not gonna, do anything crazy. I'm just gonna pass the ball into the goal. Same with the crossing, because as I said, I don't wanna overdo anything now this first session back. So yeah, let's head into exercise 2. Så den där?
Nej. Man ser inte kameran.
Yeah, so a few reps here. Now we'll go over to that side, so I'll get some reps in from the left wing as well.
Being back out here on the field, it really made me understand that football is still something that I want to be part of my life, and I'm not done with football. Because I just got out here and I did these exercises all by myself in the rain. The weather wasn't even good, but I couldn't stop smiling. I just looked around and I felt like this felt like home. The pitch feels like my home, and I think that it will continue doing so for the coming years as well. And I will make my comeback, maybe sooner than I think. But right now, football is not the priority, but it's still a huge part of my life.
So another thing that I do within my week is I train within VR, and I train within Be Your Best, which is a virtual reality training app where I can train my decision making, my vision, my awareness without actually having to be out on the pitch. So we're in the app, we're actually in a dressing room, as you can see, and we have the main menu in front of us. What I usually do for now is I head into the practice mode, which is the standard mode. Then you can choose between your position, so goalkeeper, defensive, midfield, or forward. I will pick midfield for this one. I usually like to go for 10 scenarios because I don't want to do too much, so I do 10 and then I have a bit of a mental reset and then I go for another 10. But we can start and we're gonna be transported right out onto the pitch. So that was the best decision that I could have made there, as it said excellent pass. Now I have to decide which colors these players were.
Red.
3 out of 3.
Critical scan. Excellent pass. Perfect awareness.
Okay, that's all 10 scenarios, and now we will get a score. So session results, good job, 649 be your best IQs. And then I usually like to go for maybe 3 rounds of this, so a total of 15 minutes, and that should be enough for the day. So if you want to incorporate VR training into your own training routine, you can use my code OJ20 for a 20% discount off your first month or your first year of your own Be Your Best subscription, and it also helps support my channel so I can continue doing what I'm doing and keep helping you guys out. Thanks once again to Be Your Best for sponsoring this video and for helping me reach my goals in Project Reborn and the Superhuman Initiative. So why do I actually perform these slow zone 2 runs? That is a new addition to my training routine, especially now that I'm not only a footballer anymore, but there's actually some important reasons why you should also consider implementing zone 2 into your own routines as footballers, and I will tell you more about them as we head along. So what you have is that you have 2 different systems for your cardio. You have your anaerobic system and you have your aerobic system. Your anaerobic system is all the high intensity sprints that you do during a game, changing direction and all that. But your aerobic system is your base for your entire conditioning, and that is what makes you last for the full 90 minutes. And to build that aerobic base, what you want to do is that you want to stay within zone 2, which is the lower part of your heart rate. And that means that you want to take it very, very easy, and sometimes it even means that you want to stop and walk instead. I use my Polar Vantage V3 and my Polar H10 to know that I'm actually in zone 2, but the easiest way to know if you're in zone 2, if you don't have access to a heart rate tracker, is to hold a conversational pace, which means that I jog at a pace where I can keep a conversation at the same time. If you do that, most likely is that you're in zone 2. And once your heart rate is actually caught up again after you started walking, you can start running again.
Holy shit, this video's been going on for 18 minutes? I hope you haven't fallen asleep. Let's pick up the pace now, shall we? Day 3 included a lot of volume, more than 4 hours to be precise, but the key is to not make all sessions super intense and instead benefit from low impact, low intensity training forms such as swimming and biking. Oh, you thought we were done? Here's day 4. But eventually, it felt like all these days of training, all these hours, they eventually caught up to me, and
I'm feeling kind of bad today. Woke up with a red recovery and the whoop, and I immediately felt when I woke up that something wasn't right. I performed a very strenuous interval session running yesterday evening, and my body hasn't fully recovered, and that is to be expected. So I've had to redo my training schedule a bit for today, Saturday and Sunday, but we'll still go for the football session, which is technical and lower intensity. And then I have a swim session coming up later today, but then the rest of the day will be very easy, and then I will push it slightly more tomorrow and on Sunday. Let's head into the session and let's see how I can perform.
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't want to be here today. My legs were heavy, my head was definitely foggy, and my body was telling me to just take the day off. But the truth is, not every session is going to feel good. Some days you're not chasing a personal best, you're just showing up. And that's enough. Because every time you step out onto the pitch when your mind tells you to stay home, you win. It's proof that you're stronger than that voice in your head. And days like this are also a reminder of why recovery, sleep, and nutrition matter so much. Because when you don't take care of those things, sessions like this are the result. Still, even if it's not my best day, it's another brick in the wall, another step forward, and sometimes that's all you need.
Okay, so session done. We've been here for, 1 hour, 10 minutes, which is more than we would have wanted. Now it's time to head into the next part of the day. Fun. Oh yeah.
Day 5 was definitely a tough one, but I managed to squeeze in another 30-minute easy swim and a bit of mobility and stretching in the evening for about 30 minutes. And this proves that even on a bad day, if you at least do something, even just a few minutes, those minutes will eventually add up. And today, on a day where I didn't feel like training at all, I still walked away with over 2 hours of work. But here's the thing, sometimes doing nothing is actually the better choice, and knowing when to push and when to back off is one of the hardest lessons in training. The truth is that there is no magic number. You won't find your optimal training load in this video or in any other, because it doesn't exist, at least not in a one-size-fits-all way. How much you can train depends on so many things: how long you've been training, what your body is used to, what your mind is used to, your recovery, your lifestyle, even your stress levels outside of football. And trying to find one perfect number, it's impossible. So what can you do instead? You experiment, you pay attention, you push, then you listen to what your body tells you, and over time, you'll find your number. Day 6, I started feeling a lot better. I was back in the gym for the second gym session of the week for another 1 hour and 30 minutes. I also managed to get in another cognitive VR session at home in Be Your Best for a total of 30 minutes. And I finished day 6 off with just 20 minutes of stretching before it was time for the final session of the week, a 2-hour long run. Out here, the landscape feels endless. The world slows down, and all that's left is me, my breath, and the road ahead. 16 hours of training this week, but also 16 hours of finding myself. And while I'm still not completely sure of who I am, I know that this path excites me, I know it challenges me, and I know I'm willing to follow it wherever it leads. This is the life of a hybrid footballer. The balance between two worlds. The fight to grow in more than one arena. The chase for a version of yourself you never met but know is out there. Because the biggest reward is not in the finish line, it's in the pursuit.